WBOK.
Better pay attention.
Powered by Cox Business. WBOK New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
New Schools for New Orleans is committed to celebrating the hardworking teachers of New Orleans. Thank you to all the educators who came out to the 4th annual NOLA Teacher Fest at Champion Square. We had over 2,000 attendees. Special thank you to our sponsors, Allstate Sugar Bowl, Entergy New Orleans, Raising Cane's, Align Ed New Orleans, Agenda for Children, and Oshner Children's for their commitment and support. Teachers and school leaders, enjoy the summer break.
Here's what's trending this hour. Wall Street closed with stocks sharply lower. It comes as investors are concerned over a spike in Treasury yields. The 30-year Treasury yield traded above its highest level since October of 2023. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 816 points. The S&P 500 dipped by 95 points, and the Nasdaq lost 270 points. I'm Bree Wood with What's Trending.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Wake up, New Orleans. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my producer, Naren Sanders. It's Thursday, y'all. It's almost the end of the week. I feel like it went fast, but it didn't. It's neither here nor there. I'm excited about today because I'm actually speaking at Galia Hall to some kids today, and I'm always excited to do that. It's happening this evening. It's a NORD event. And I get to be the keynote for that event. So I'm extremely excited about that. So when I'm done here, I'm going home, get some rest so I can be ready to address the kids, which is my ultimate favorite thing to do. So I'm excited about that. We have a wonderful show lined up this morning. As you know, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. And at the 7:20 mark, we'll hear from our congressman. And if you want to join the conversation, the number is 504-582-9422. And at the midway point of the 8 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Perry Shows. Y'all know him. That's silly. Talking about their internship talent with Ronald Davis from Thrive NOLA Spa, Mr. A.B. Ardu from Alka Financial, and Ms. Jessica Bordelon from Revolutionary Real Estate LLC. So it's quite the lineup at the 8:30 mark, but you do not want to miss it. But right here and right now, we are going to jump into some local news, unfortunate local news. And I'm not certain if you guys are aware, but Louisiana State Rep Kyle Green was recently arrested. He's being accused of driving intoxicated with his children in his car. And the moment I saw this headline, it bothered me. I cannot even find another word for it. The response when I saw it was wow. I just was wowed by it. I do know Kyle personally, and he's one of very few political figures who supported me when I ran for the Bessie seat back in 2018. And it's just so unfortunate to hear. What I want to say to him and his family is that I hope that he is okay, and whatever he needs in terms of getting himself back on track, I hope he gets it. But it says the Louisiana State Police around 2:30 arrested Rep. Kyle Green in Marrero. He is facing charges of DWI and child endangerment. According to state police, he was driving westbound on US 90B in a 2023 Honda Accord when he ran off the road and struck a concrete barrier. Troopers say they had suspicion Green was impaired and conducted some sobriety tests. Green was then arrested. At the time of his arrest, Green had 3 children in his car. The children were released to the care of a family member, according to a news release. Green was taken to Jefferson Parish Correctional Center, where troopers say he refused to provide a breath sample. Well, that's his right. Let's just be clear. A warrant was issued, and the state police were able to obtain blood samples from Green, according to state police. So, though the news is super unfortunate, we do not duck accountability over in these streets. So I'm certain that the rep will take full accountability for whatever he is proven to have done. And I hope for the sake of him and the kids involved that whatever he needs to make himself whole again, he finds that. So our thoughts at this moment go out to Rep. Kyle M. Green. I wish you the best. So there's also been quite a couple updates as it relates to the jailbreak of the 10 inmates from the Orleans Parish Sheriff Office. Half of those individuals have been apprehended. 5 of them are still at large. And there have been additional arrests made in the jailbreak investigation. 2 women, according to state police, Courtney Harris, 32 of New Orleans, and Carvante Baptiste, 38 of Slidell, were arrested in connection with the investigation. Harris is accused of contacting 2 of the inmates by phone and taking them to multiple locations across New Orleans, according to state police. Both of those escapees remain at large. So the 2 individuals that Courtney Harris is being accused of aiding, they are still at large. Baptiste is accused of using a phone and social media to help get Corey Boyd food. Boyd was arrested in New Orleans East on Tuesday night. Harris and Baptiste were placed under arrest and charged with 1 felony count each of accessories after the fact. Both were booked into Plaquemines Parish Jail. According to Louisiana law, those convicted of accessory after the fact shall be fined not more than $500 or imprisoned with or without hard labor for not more than 5 years or both. State police say those who choose to assist or hire people who have broken the law will be held accountable. Now, I will say, for some reason, it seems like it's body camera footage. I'm not certain. The angle of it seems like it was shot by the law enforcement officers who made the arrest of Corey Boyd, but his arrest, the video of it is now circulating. It looked to be like some sort of hotel because it was just a long hallway. He was coming through a door. I can be quite honest with you. I did not care to watch it. It was very clear that it was an arrest. I had no need to look at it. I saw it. I saw him being apprehended, but that's what it looked like to me in the 4, 5, 6 seconds that I was able to scroll past it. But it is out there for the public view. And I want to be clear when I say this. I really would like, I guess I'm always asking protocol questions because it seems like things happen in certain cases and it's okay to do certain things in certain cases because I, for one, will always want to see body camera footage, especially when we have 2 ends of the same coin. One side is saying one thing and the other side is saying something polar opposite of what the other side is saying, whether it be police saying the thing and then the civilian saying something different, or the civilian saying one thing and the police refuting what the civilian is saying. What I'm saying is, I think for the sake of public information, transparency, we should always, if it does not compromise an ongoing investigation and you have all of this public fodder over what took place, we should always see body camera footage. But in some cases, we know that you almost have to have an act of Congress to see body camera footage in certain cases. But in this particular case, it was readily available and we were able to, it looked like body camera footage, whatever footage it was, cell phone footage, hotel footage, we saw it in real time seemingly. And so I appreciate the transparency there, but I would like to see that across the board, especially when we lose folk at the hands of law enforcement or when law enforcement is harmed by folk. I think that we ought to be able to see body camera footage when we have two different ends of the same coin. So absolutely saw that in real time. And so I would like to see some sort of protocol around that. So if it's able to be done in that case, what makes that case, the outlier for how quickly we can see by the camera, or if that is not protocol, why did we do it? Like, I just want to know so that when we're requesting things and when we're trying to inform ourselves for the public good, that we have the right answers as to why we can't see by the camera in that moment, or why body camera was readily made available in those moments. I just want to know those things. I like to understand policy, procedures, protocols, those sorts of things, that PPP, but not the money y'all thinking about. And in the same case, as it relates to the jailbreak, an attorney representing Orleans Parish jail maintenance worker who was arrested and accused in connection with the inmate escape says his client is completely innocent. That is according to Michael Kennedy. That is according to Sterling Williams' attorney, Michael Kennedy, after he was booked on 10 counts of principal 2 simple escape and 1 count of malfeasance in office. Williams admitted to disconnecting the water to the cell from which the inmates escaped. According to Kennedy, the attorney, Sterling's interview with authorities was misconstrued. He is being used as a tool by the inmates and as a fall guy by the sheriff, said Kennedy. Kennedy says Sterling was not threatening to helping the inmates escape and that he was simply the maintenance worker on duty the night of the plot. According to Kennedy, Sterling disconnected the water to the cell, but that was after a guard asked him to check out an overflowing toilet in a different cell. Kennedy said that inmate, Antoine Massey, did threaten to shank him. However, he says that Sterling saw that as normal jailhouse banter that he was used to. He had a passing exchange while assessing the toilet, said Kennedy. He didn't take this as a threat. He wasn't acting out of fear. He reported it during the interview with law enforcement, but not all facts lead somewhere. The fact law enforcement jumped on that and made it his reason for conspiring is nothing more than a fallacy. Kennedy said that his client will not bond out because the bail was set too high. Sterling's bond was set at $1.1 million. And I can be very transparent in saying when I saw his bond, I was like, whoa. Literally, that was my first response. I understand this is a high-profile, nationally covered case, but when you look at the charges and the bond amounts, it's completely ridiculous, said Kennedy, who is the attorney for Sterling Williams. He has worked at this jail for 5 years. He's never been arrested before. There is simply no need in that. Kennedy said he does not think his client was used specifically for the conspiracy. He thinks the toilet was used and Sterling had the misfortune of being on duty. What should come next is my client going home where innocent people belong, said Kennedy. Kennedy says the district attorney has 60 days to accept charges against Sterling. Now, I'm a bit confused here. So I want to help unconfuse myself and hopefully unconfuse you, because the first statement after the attorney vouched for his client's innocence, he said his client admitted to disconnecting the water to the cell which the inmates escaped. Then he goes on to say he's been used as a tool by the inmates and as a fall guy for the sheriff. And when people say the sheriff, I could only surmise that they're referring to Sheriff Susan Hudson, because she is the sheriff. But it wasn't Sheriff Hudson, according to the article, who directed this young man to take the action that he took, because he's saying that Sterling did disconnect the water, but that was after a guard asked him to check out an overflowing toilet in a different cell. So if he's checking out the water in a different cell, are the toilets, are they connected so that when you turn off the water in the different cell, it also turns off the water where they actually escape from? I'm just not clear on that, because it also goes on to say that he was threatened to be shanked, but that he just chalked it up to normal jailhouse banter. Seemingly he's been threatening that way before, and it's never bear fruit, so he didn't think it was like a real thing. He said it happened in passing as he was going to assess the toilet. He didn't think he'd take it as a threat. He was acting out. He wasn't acting out enforcement, but not all facts lead somewhere. The fact law enforcement jumped on that and made it its reason for conspiring is nothing more than a fallacy. I mean, I think they jumped on it because he said it. I don't know about that part. Like, if he doesn't tell that to law enforcement, then they can't take that to use as the rationale for why he did what he did. Because when I originally heard when they attributed to the comment to him, that it was said that an inmate threatened him, which is why he did what he did. Now, from the attorney, he's saying that a deputy instructed him to do what he did, even though he was threatened by one of the escapees who is still at large. He's one of the 5 who is still at large, Antoine Massey. And so, I mean, that's the update there. The attorney for Mr. Williams is saying that he's completely innocent and he's being scapegoated by the sheriff's office. But he did admit to turning off the water, but he's saying that he turned off the water at the behest of a deputy, even though he was threatened to be shanked by one of the escapees. He didn't take it as a threat. He didn't move or respond based on the threat. He moved and responded based on a directive from the deputy, is what he's alleging. Now, it says court documents show Williams did not report the inmate's plan to escape and did not come forward initially after being questioned by agents. So that kind of gives me pause because, you know, while I do sympathize with folk who are working in jails and prisons because your safety is paramount. We know things happen and we know things can happen and threats can be carried out. But if you're saying that you didn't take the threat seriously and that you moved at the behest of a deputy, then are we to believe, or are you asking us to understand that you didn't report it because of the deputy? Because at that point you knew about the plan. So I'm just trying to understand, if you didn't feel, you know, some imminent threat, you weren't afraid of the inmates because, you know, they've said those kinds of things to you before, and you kind of just went on about your way, then why not come forward? Because certainly you had to kind of think that somewhere along the investigation, they will discover that a deputy asked you to do this or you were threatened by an inmate to do this. That information was going to come to fruition at some point. So my question would be, why did Mr. Williams think to get ahead of it? You had to know this was getting ready to explode into a national story. 10 people escaped from a jail facility. It was going to be huge. So I'm just not certain why Mr. Williams didn't do that. Even if you had to go get you an attorney once you knew they escaped and put this thing together for yourself, I'm just not clear there. But the article goes on to say Sheriff Susan Hudson confirmed last week that 3 employees were suspended without pay in connection with the investigation into the escape. I've not heard any more about those 3 employees, as you know, in terms of who they are, what roles they play in the jail, and what they're being accused or charged with. I don't have that information, but that as of today, those are the updates. And again, there are still 5 inmates who are still at large. As folk could please continue to be vigilant, because there are stories coming out about at least one of the inmates was picked up by a rideshare driver allegedly and taken from the 9th Ward to New Orleans East. So please be extremely vigilant as you go about your day. We are going to take a break here. Got to hear from our sponsors. But when we come back, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. And when we come back, we'll hear from our Congressman, the Troy Carter, right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by Lowe's.com. With AI booming and platforms like TikTok and YouTube, the barrier to entry for creatives looking to share their content has never been lower. Ty Randolph is a longtime media executive. She worked for Kevin Hart's Heartbeat Media Company and serves as interim consulting CEO at Rock the Bells. She talked to Bloomberg about how today's tech is impacting the creator landscape.
You have this real rise that's happening with creator empowerment, and now there's this big accessibility, right? There's more personalization and control, and that is big for studios and for even distributors. But then you have this, real battle from an IP and ownership perspective that's akin to a Napster-like moment in the music industry.
While creators have more cheap but highly capable tools than ever before, Randall says we're still learning how it'll impact the creator economy, and especially creators of color. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner. On the Black Business Beat.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Are you now or ever wanted to be in the biz? The NAACP Hollywood Bureau is proud to present Be in the Biz, a one-day symposium designed to share valuable information and access to some of the entertainment industry's top power brokers, writers, directors, producers, and storytellers from all forms of media. We'll learn about pitching techniques, adapting scripts to screen, collaboration between creatives and other media executives, and all the behind-the-scenes roles for creative professionals. Be in the Biz is coming to New Orleans on Saturday, May 31st at Studio B. For more information and to register, visit @Hollywood Bureau on Instagram.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nyron Sanders. And if you are just joining us, you know that each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. And right now we're getting ready to jump into our conversations with our congressman. If you want to join the conversation, the number is 504-582-9422. Good morning, Congressman Carter. How are you?
Well, It's been a long day. I'm working now on about 34 hours nonstop. So we've been going around the clock with these clowns. As you know, a lot's at stake. And tonight, by a narrow margin of one, they were able to pass this big, ugly bill, a bill that will strip away health care for seniors, for veterans, for working families. It will cause great havoc for the state of Louisiana and for the country, but it's not over. I'm so proud of my Democratic partners. We fought literally around the clock for 30-plus hours, forcing them to get to answer tough questions. We put up some 560 amendments that we attempted to pass. But we don't have the votes, but we have our voice. And we use this platform to fight. And there's no excuse to say we don't have the vote, because we know we have to still use our voice. We haven't always had a vote. Oftentimes we've been outnumbered, but never outworked. We're not going to be outworked this time. They won by one vote. We were able to pull two Republicans with us, two Republicans that realize that this is wrong, that you take a pledge to the people, not to the party. You take a pledge to the people, not to the president. And this president who has demonstrated, he and Elon Musk and their chainsaws demonstrated they don't care about Americans. They don't care about working people. They don't care about the challenges that you will have with $300 billion of SNAP cuts. So children will go hungry. People will starve. People living with disabilities, working poor, people who work every day but don't make enough money to afford health care will go without. How can you be so heartless? And why are they doing this, Dr. Wyatt? All to provide tax breaks for the richest of the rich. This is unconscionable. But guess what? This is only round one. They won the battle, but the war is far from over. We are going to continue to fight. Our next battle is to take this to the United States Senate, to work on those members to strip out some of these harmful and hateful and life-altering measures that the Republicans are now parading around, beating themselves on the chest, because they've made the Orange Wonder happy. They have soothed the Cheeto Man. They feel good because their savior, Donald Trump. Well, my savior is Jesus Christ. And for them to want to please him and do a parade for him, the American people aren't stupid. You know, they did this all in the dead of the night, my dear sister. They started these committee meetings at 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday. That's more than 30 hours ago. More than 30 hours ago that they started these hearings at 1 o'clock in the morning so they can get the ugliest of the ugly done while the American people were asleep. But guess what? We were there. We never blinked. We were there around the clock, 30-plus hours fighting, and now we're telling the story. We're taking it to social media. We're taking it to amazing outlets and amazing hosts like you and WBOK to tell our story, where we have the opportunity to have unfettered access to our people, to share the facts, the things they don't want you to know, the bad and the ugly things they attempt to do in the dead of the night. Only thieves come out in the middle of the night to rob, to pilfer, to hurt. And that's what the Republican Party did just hours ago. But guess what? We're not quitting. Hashtag we won't quit. Hashtag we won't let them. We will go to the next step, and we will continue to fight and demonstrate to them that we are smarter than them. We are accustomed to battles, and we know how to fight.
So, Congressman, can you just speak briefly to us and our listening audience about some of the ramifications of this bill? What are the implications if this bill is allowed to go as it is formed at this moment?
Well, there are real-life implications. Number one, $300 billion to SNAP. That means that nearly 50% of the people in Louisiana that are reliant on SNAP, the ability to, which is SNAP is what used to be called food stamps. its supplemental nutrition plan, where people are able to, rather in the schools, where kids oftentimes will get their best and maybe only hot meal, and then at home, those benefits will be drastically reduced by $300 billion. Then, when you look at Medicaid for people that are in nursing homes or assisted living facilities, they will be kicked off under these measures. People that are that they're saying they want a work requirement for. Well, first of all, most people are working because the benefits that they're getting under SNAP is $6 a day. $6 a day. Who can live on that? So that's barely a supplement to help you make ends meet, and that doesn't even do it. But these hateful individuals want to take that away too. Our senior citizens who have worked hard and paid into systems to be able to collect in the twilight years to challenge that. Our veterans who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms, they want to take away their benefits. See, the ramifications are far and deep. And they impact not just black folk, not just Democrats. But when I was in the state Senate and we expanded Medicaid, those expansions into Medicaid brought thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people back into the roles of having health care. Now when they shift this and they put a burden on the states, and the state will not be able to pay the additional portion to keep people on the rolls, my dear sister, here's what will happen. The reverse of what happened when we expanded. All those people will be tossed off the rolls. Here's another implication. All those rural hospitals that were open, clinics that were open, they're going to close now, which means people are going to die. It's just plain and simple. People that are living with severe disabilities, people like the Corkins, who I had to come up to D.C. last week and testify and be in committee to watch us testify, rather, and to be there to meet people, to put a real face and a name in place of what they would rather be just numbers on a spreadsheet. We said, no, these are real living people. These are people who are trying to care for their loved ones who are born with severe issues to no fault of their own. And listen, as you know, but for the grace of God, as parents, as I am and you are, and so many of our listeners are, when we get that beautiful gift of birth from a child, from God, of our child, we don't know. But for the grace of God, we could have had a child that was born that was severely challenged with issues that require around-the-clock care. So mama can't go to work because she can't afford to. She can't leave the baby alone, who 10 years later, she can't leave the 10-year-old alone. 20 years later, you can't leave the 30-year because they require 24/7 for their entire life. You can't just push them into a corner and say, I'll be back in 8 hours. But yet they want to take those resources away. The implications, as you mentioned, are far and deep. And the consequences are people losing their access to health care. And it won't save money because in the long run, when people are sick, they're going to go to the emergency room if they can find one that's open.
Yeah, we
because
have
hospitals will have no choice but to downsize.
Yeah,
because they don't have the money.
This is
and the state
this
doesn't
is scary.
have the money.
This is absolutely scary. And you have a caller already, Congressman. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. You're on with Congressman Troy Carter.
Good morning to all. Congressman, am I to understand the veterans that receive disability benefits may actually have their benefits cut, reduced?
That is a part of the proposal. And here's one of the devil's in the detail of how it's all going to be administered. And we're still sifting through that because this big ugly bill is 1,100 pages, and they just put it on our desk 2 days ago. So again, death comes in the middle of the night. Thieves come in the middle of the night. You hide the devil's in the detail.
Can that also happen to those who have qualified for Social Security benefits? Can they?
Well, yes. And let me tell you, Reverend Calhoun. Yes, and let me tell you what the trick is. What they want to do Now they want people to qualify every 6 months. So let me tell you what happens when people are trying to work and keep a roof over their head and keep the light bill paid and take sure they're getting their dialysis and they're taking their high blood pressure medicine. Who's sitting around every 6 months having to requalify? And what they want to do is catch you in the switches. You don't fill your paperwork out in time. You don't fill your paperwork out properly. Guess what? You've just been kicked off the rolls. If people had to requalify every 6 months to get a driver's license, no one would have a driver's license. And I'm telling you, a part of the plan is to kick people off the rolls for paperwork infractions. That's their trick.
So, okay, so now you're saying that, didn't they reduce staff at Social Security? Do they have the capacity? That's
a part of it also. So now you're shutting down offices. You're making it more difficult to even get the paperwork done. So now, Reverend Calhoun, it's now the 5th month. You realize it's time to re-up to make sure your benefits aren't interrupted, but you can't get anybody on the phone. You can't get anybody online. Now the 6th month comes around. Hey, that's your problem. You've been on hold for the last 3 days listening to elevator music because nobody picked up. But now the 6th month has come and you've been dropped. Who are you going to call? The same people who didn't take your call before. That's a part of the whole trick of how they're going to summarily kick people off the rolls, much like they have done in the past with trying to kick us off the voting rolls when they do these massive purges right before an election. It's so clear that it's scary. They are throwing rocks and they don't even care that you see them.
Well, they never did care about people. I think we need to be real clear on that. But what fiscal impact these cuts and things would actually have on monies actually coming to the state of Louisiana? Because I'm understanding
it's going to nearly bankrupt the state of Louisiana
comes from the federal government.
The state. I'm sorry.
I was trying to see what's the fiscal impact overall on the state of Louisiana.
So
based on these cuts. Given that
the fiscal impact on these cuts are going to be, the fiscal impact on the state is going to be.
Thank you, Reverend Calhoun. I'm sorry, Congressman. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to answer, but are we okay?
Yeah, go ahead. You can. I cleared the line for you. Go ahead.
Okay, the fiscal impact is going to be tremendous because the state doesn't have the money. So the only recourse the state has is to drop people off the rolls. When the federal government says, we're not giving you that match, we're not giving you what we used to give you, and now the state has to make a determination, so where do I get that money to prop up Medicaid? Well, the state is already cutting things. The state is already suggesting they have financial woes. And while they may have ebbs and flows of surpluses and deficits, the governor has been saying all along that they have significant financial trouble ahead. And Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, all similarly situated. And you're going to have states that will have to make the decision to just drop people off the rolls because they can no longer afford to provide health care for them because the federal match is gone.
You have additional callers, Congressman. Good morning, Ms. Jones. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. You're on with Congressman Troy Carter.
Thank you so much. Good morning to everybody and to the audience.
Good morning, ma'am.
Congressman Carter, we are so fortunate to have you because you are very vigilant and very thorough, and you are very much appreciated. Is there a way I could contact you? I want to say something, but not over the air. I had called.
Yes, ma'am. And Dr. Wyatt, if you can have the producer give the information, I'm happy to meet with you, ma'am.
I absolutely will, Ms. Jones. If you I'll make sure that I connect you with our producer at the end of the show. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Good morning, Miss Alicia. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. You're on with Congressman Troy Carter.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Congressman, every time I get a hold of the conversations and the hearings that you've been having up there, I posted on my Facebook page. And the last one I received was when you repeated to the MAGAs and the other Republicans to listen to their leader, who said, which I think is just a ploy, who said, don't F with Medicaid. And they F with Medicaid anyway.
Because it was you're a smart woman, as everyone knows. It was a ploy, and that's what I said. That's why I said it. Your leader said, "Don't blank with Medicaid."
Right.
I hope you, even though I don't believe he was serious, I hope you're serious because the American people are, and the Democrats are, and we're never going to forget. And this hocus pocus game that they're playing, it's going to catch up because people are going to die. These cuts are real.
Right. I have one more question. What does it look like for the Senate? Do you think it's going to pass through the Senate? Because, you know, if it does, Congressman, we are done. This is going to affect so many people, and even the ones, especially the black ones that voted for Trump. It's going to affect us horribly. So
it's going to affect the MAGAs that voted for Trump. That's why you see so many of them having voters' remorse now, because they thought they were voting for a guy that was only going to hurt us. But this guy's demonstrated he don't care about them either.
So what do you think the chances are that it's going to pass? You think it's going to sail through the Senate?
I don't think it's going to sail through the Senate by any means. I think that, you know, there was, in addition to not having any sleep for the last 30-plus hours, a part of that, staying up, asking the tough questions, offering some 500, nearly 600 amendments, staying in their faces, even though you often hear me say we may not have the vote, but we always have our voice. We've used our voices. But it's not just to make noise. It's been very strategic, because every time we ask the tough questions and we catch them in a lie and we box them in to make them say things they'd rather not say, we are making record. And every one of those pieces of evidence that we've collected through our 30-plus hours today, 27 hours last week, this is in one day. I haven't been asleep for nearly 35 hours now because we've been at it fighting them. But here's the value of that. Like building a court case, we've been cross-examining them, and everything they say becomes a part of the permanent record. We intend to take that and use that on the Senate side to debunk all the lies they've told, all the things they claim which are not so. And I believe that if we keep the same level of pressure as I've asked people with our 3 C's, Congress, courts, and community, keeping the pressure on, calling our Republican senators and Democratic senators for that matter, but in Louisiana, calling our 2 Republican senators and remind them that they are your representative and you expect them to do the right thing, to be fair, to be honest, and to look at the facts. I feel like we are still in the game. They won this battle, but the war is far from over.
One last thing, Congressman. I want to give my condolences to one of your colleagues that passed, but also I want to put in a tag for Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, that she ascends to the highest level in Congress for whatever committee that she needs to be there for us with her voice, with her strength, and with her power. You have a good one, and thanks for all that you do for us, Congressman. Have a good one.
Thank you, Ms. Alicia. Congressman, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, there's some things I want to specifically ask you about, but I'm going to put it on your brain because you got to tell us about this $400 million jet and this idea that world leaders are now hesitant to visit the Oval Office. Can we talk about that after the break?
Absolutely.
We'll have that and a whole lot more right here with our Congressman Troy Carter, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
This summer, let your child's creativity shine at Camp Art, New Orleans' most vibrant, arts-driven camp experience for kids ages 4 to 12. Hosted by Beyond the Stage, Camp Art blends visual art, theater, music, dance, and creative writing with New Orleans history and culture. Plus, field trips, guest artists, and camper showcases. With full-day programming before and after care and sessions starting June 9th, it's the perfect fit for working parents. Fun, enriching, unforgettable. Register now at beyondthestagellc.com/campart and follow us on social media at Beyond the Stage LLC.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Happy Thursday, everyone. And as you know, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. And if you're just joining the conversation, you missed a good bit of it, but he's still here with us. And if you want to join, the number is 504-582-9422. So, Congressman, I asked you prior to the break that our government has formally accepted this jet from the Qatari government, which was gifted to Trump, but it could cost $1 billion to upgrade it. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered the U.S. Air Force to begin to plans to convert the $400 million jet into Air Force One. Like, where are we going with this? Is this even legal?
It is patently illegal and unconstitutional. The Constitution explicitly says in the clause that's referred to, the Emoluments Clause, the Emoluments Clause of the United States Constitution says no president shall accept any gift from any foreign country, any king, prince, queen, or foreign friend or adversary. It's very clear. This president, again, is demonstrating that he does not care about the Constitution. But here's a real quick civics lesson. We have a system of checks and balances. We have a three-legged stool, and the three-legged stool are three co-equal branches of government. You have the president. You have the United States Congress, which is comprised of the House and Senate. And then you have the Supreme Court. Three separate co-equal branches of government that is designed to, when they're combined, to be the checks and balances. The checks and balances are in place to make sure that no one branch runs away with unbridled authority. Now, this president who boasts of controlling the House, controlling the Senate, and because he has appointed a majority of the Supreme Court justices, that he now boasts that he controls it too. The Supreme Court is supposed to be made of jurists who only look at the law and interpret it as purist. Unfortunately, we know that Sam Alito, we know that Clarence Thomas, we know that these people don't. They're zealots and they bow to Donald Trump. So when we look at things like the Emoluments Clause, we look at things like kicking citizens out of attempting to deport citizens who by law cannot be deported because they are United States citizens. This president has thumbed his nose in the checks and balances. He's thumbed his nose in the process of fairness and rule of law. So when we look at this $400 million plane that's going to cost us another $1 billion, now that's a billion with a B,
yes.
All while we're taking food away from babies, taking food and health care away from seniors, taking vital benefits from those who are challenged or disabled, taking SNAP benefits away from hungry children, taking health care away from the working poor. He wants to take $400 million plane from Qatar, which last year he was calling a terrorist organization, by the way.
Right.
And now have to take another $1 billion away from the American people, in addition to the billions, nearly trillions of dollars he's taken away to give fat cats like Elon Musk and others tax breaks, to have this plane, which is patently illegal. And we will continue, I'll talk about those 3 C's, the Congress, the courts in this case, to turn the lights on and force the Supreme Court to do its job and to step in on something that is patently illegal. I can tell you this. If Barack Obama had done any of these things, they'd have run him out of town.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And which leads into the second thing that I asked you about prior to the break. World leaders are now in peril when they consider visiting the Oval Office. I'm talking about the South African president who was forced to watch videos promoting white genocide. And he continued to try to object to doing it. He did not want to do it. And they almost forced him to sit there and watch. And then the South African president, said to Donald Trump, well, I don't have a jet to give you. It's almost like everybody knows that this country seems to be for sale. If you have enough money, then you can influence our leaders to join forces with you in some sort of way if you have something worth them having. Is this country for sale?
It's for sale under the Trump administration.
Yeah.
It's for sale for the Trump administration when we have a system of having to make sure that we have permission to build things and to go through rigorous testing through the permitting process to make sure that chemical plants that are being built or processing plants that are being built or buildings and things of that nature being built, that they have to be checked for safety because we have to make sure our communities are breathing clean air and drinking clean water. This president said, give me $10 million and we can bypass all of the systems. Give me $10 million and you don't have to we'll just give you your permit. So you're just paying for it. America under the Trump watch is very much for sale. That means only people that can afford to grease the skids for the Trump boys or the Musk boys will be able to play until we stop this monster, until we demonstrate that we're going to force people to do their jobs. We're going to force the Supreme Court to play by the rules of law, to make sure that they are honoring the tenets of the Constitution and not rolling over to this bully on the schoolyard. So when you look at the South African president and other world leaders who don't want to come, and you're absolutely right, they don't trust us. They don't like us because of the behavior that's exhibited by President Trump. If you look at what happened in the Oval Office with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, they attacked him. Here's a man that is defending a democracy. Here's a man who's an ally to the U.S., who's defending himself in the Oval Office, and Trump is berating him and treating him like a child. This is a president of a nation, and all in favor of who?
Yeah. We are struggling in this country.
A Russian despot.
Yeah.
So the South African president, I did not see the clips, but I understand he held his own. He told the president that those people that you're looking at, I don't even know where that is, because there is no white genocide. In fact, the issues under apartheid was black folk losing their land,
and that's
black
what the
folk
president
being
was
killed,
espousing
black
to him.
folk being the ones who were mistreated. And so now you're telling me you don't want me to make that right, and you're going to let 50 South Africans come to America under the auspices of genocide? No. Let's go to genocide in the Sudan. Let's go to genocide in countries where there are black and brown people who are being killed that this country wants to ignore.
Yeah, and so Congressman, a part of your 3 C's is we have a part in that, the community. What can we do if all of our systems fail, if all of our levels of government fail? Is it then up to the people? What can the people do to force us to course correct?
We go back to what we did before there was a Dutch Morial, before there was a Shirley Chisholm, before there was an Adam Clayton Powell, before we had black judges, black mayors, black members of Congress, black presidents. We go back before Dutch Morial was the first black in the Louisiana House of Representatives, before he was the first black mayor, before Dorothy May Taylor, before A.L. Davis, before those leaders that came before Avery Alexander and so many others. We marched, we organized, we loved each other, we stood together, we sat in at lunch counters. If we have to go back because the courts aren't listening, because we don't control the House, the Senate, or the Congress, we go back to what we've always had. We go back to the black church. We go back to the community leaders. We listen to the people who brought us where we are today. We never forget those freedom fighters who said we're never giving up. We never forget the Shirley Chisholms who said, and the others who said that if you now have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Or the Fannie Lou Hamers who said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. We go back to what brought us here, our old school organizing, and we vote. Because you can't hope me in, you have to vote me in. And when we stay home and we don't vote, we just elected the worst person on the ballot. Yes, we have the power. We have to recognize that God did not leave us without tools. We have tools. We have to use them. We have to work hard, and we have to learn to love each other and talk less about each other and more to each other. And then we will start to receive the blessings that we are entitled to. But we've got to learn to love each other first. We've got to organize, and we've got to fight against those evils that continue to come up against us. We got to stamp out the haters among us and say, brother, sister, I love you no matter what. And ain't a damn thing you can do about it, because we're in this battle together, and there's far too few of us to be against each other.
Well, Congressman, we certainly, the folk here in the state of Louisiana, more namely the city of New Orleans, we appreciate who you are and who you will continue to be up there as you fight on behalf of the American people. So thank you for your service to this country, to this state, and to this city. We appreciate you here at WBOK.
God bless you. God bless WBOK. Thank you for doing what you do. Continue to give the people what they deserve, the unfettered access, the unfettered facts. WBOK is a blessing to our community, to our city, to our state, to our country, to our world. Dr. Ashanta, you are as well. Continue to bring in the truth, even when people don't want to hear it. God bless.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Have a blessed one. Listen, it's always good to hear directly from a congressman. I don't know many local municipalities that have their congressmen on weekly to give them updates, unfettered updates. And so we thank our congressman for his service to this state and to this city, and ultimately to this country and its citizenry. So it's always a wonderful conversation. I hope you were able to tune in and get some of that information. But we have to go to break to hear from our sponsors. But listen, when we come back, we'll talk more about the news. And at the 8:30 mark, we'll hear from Paris Shows. But stay with us. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans. New Schools for New Orleans is committed to celebrating the hardworking teachers of New Orleans. Thank you to all the educators who came out to the 4th annual NOLA Teacher Fest at Champion Square. We had over 2,000 attendees. Special thank you to our sponsors, Allstate Sugar Bowl, Entergy New Orleans, Raising Cane's, Align Ed New Orleans, Agenda for Children, and Oshner Children's for their commitment and support. Teachers and school leaders, enjoy the summer break.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The DOJ is dropping civil rights lawsuits against police in Louisville, Minneapolis, and other cities. Louisville's Mayor Craig Greenberg welcomed the news.
We can't afford any more delays. There's no point in delaying the inevitable. Let's focus on those reforms and improvements, and that's why we did not object.
The case is filed late in former President Biden's term, alleged racial bias. Verizon is set to receive a share of a $20 billion FCC broadband expansion fund just as it scales back its DEI efforts. Critics argue public money shouldn't reward companies retreating from equity commitments, but Verizon says it's focused on infrastructure, not ideology. And rapper Rod Wave, real name Rodarius Green, was arrested in Georgia on 14 charges, including assault and firearm possession, after shots were fired at his home. He's out on a $50,000 bond and denies all allegations. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wise. Shout out to our 25-year-old birthday super producer, the Nyron Sanders. Thank you, Irvin Calhoun, for telling Nyron happy birthday. Y'all can still drop some happy birthday in the chat because he don't like it, so we love it. But happy birthday again, Nyron. Listen, it's Thursday. Everybody knows this. Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. And if you miss the conversation with the congressman, no worries. You could always roll back the tape and listen because there's always some valuable information that he's given. And I do believe in the 3 C's as he's always talking about. But my fear is that 2 of those C's have already kind of broken down and if not totally like failed us, because now it seems like it will only be up to the people of this country to try to change the tide of what's happening, because we cannot live under an oppressive government. We just cannot. This is not anything that is in line with our Constitution. It's not in line with the land of the free, home of the brave. It's not in line with freedom and justice for all. It's just not. None of these things, stripping much needed Medicaid and Medicare and SNAP benefits from the most vulnerable population, all that is going to do is make a more dangerous populace. It's going to make a sicker populace. It's going to make a more illiterate populace. Like, there are things that if we continue to go down this road, we are going to roll back the clock a multitude of years, and we just cannot afford that. There are people in this country who depend on those services, and that is why we pay into those programs. That's why we pay into those systems, so that if you should ever need it, it's there, or should your neighbor ever need it, it's there. And so to cut SNAP benefits, to cut Medicaid, to cut Medicare, to dismantle the Department of Education, to fire all of these FAA workers, and you wonder why planes are dropping out of the sky and things are just going awry, and people continue to lean into this. It's chaos, and I don't know how we're going to get to where we need to get to make this world a more just and humane society. Shout out to Xavier University of Louisiana. I don't know how we get there when the water is so muddy and you're fighting on so many different fronts, and then our leaders don't have the numbers to really put up the kind of fight that we need, because they're fighting, but it almost feels like we're fighting a losing battle because we don't have the votes. We don't have the numbers. And by and large, the folk who are on the other side of the aisle, they seem to be afraid to stand up for the American people. And I just never envisioned a day where all of our systems will simultaneously break down under the weight of a dictator. I just never thought that would be the United States of America. We see it in other, parts of the world, but here, I did not see it, especially for a person who I believe is ultimately playing a game of The Apprentice on us. This is literally entertainment for him. And so for all of the supposed scholars and legislators and people who actually have the expertise to kowtow to him, I just never thought we'd see the day. But good morning, John. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, how you doing, Doctor?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, I've been so busy. I'll hardly ever get to listen to you guys anymore, let alone call in. But I'm wondering, now he's supposed to have accepted the president this plane, okay? I'm wondering if it's gotten to a point now to where, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to let him keep violating these laws, then we're going to check that rope and snap his damn neck. And he won't be able to say this, that, and the other. Here's the evidence. You only could accept $480 or something like that, and he accepted $14 million. Case after case after case, because the very folks that put you in there can take you out too, because too many of their people are dissatisfied. Now they're like, man, this wasn't supposed to happen to us.
Yeah, but that also, John, that also worries me, because we as the people who have always, since the inception of this country, been marginalized and disenfranchised. Why do we have to wait until the other side is affected in a way that makes them want to stand up to something so that it could ultimately benefit us? Because they're not standing up for us. They're standing up for their interests at that point. Why do we have to wait to get to that point when I just think humanity is non-existent for a lot of these people? They don't see other folk as human, and that is why they could allow the things that are happening to happen. But once it starts to affect them and their loved ones, then it's time to talk about it. It's time to have a town hall. It's time to hold your legislators accountable. You should have been doing that when you watched them do it to other people, but you didn't care enough to do that because you don't see us as human. You don't see us as being on the same playing field as you. That's the problem with this country. We are going into dangerous. We are in dangerous territory right now. Very dangerous territory.
You said it, and it's going to get very, very dangerous. But I'm looking at the situation that's going over there, and pray for this brother, Ibrahim Traoré. I don't know if you're familiar with what's going on over there. Ivory Coast just had a coup. They're throwing off these colonial powers, and they're taking back control of their resources. And now you can see the turnaround there. I mean, children can go to school for free now. It wasn't that Africa was ever poor. They just didn't control their resources.
Yeah.
And now America and the West and Europe is going to become poor, because when you look at it, they are poor. What they are rich in is a technical know-how, but resources, they're poor. And what they've always kept away from Africa with its mineral wealth is technical know-how. But now the technical know-how is getting in there through other means. So once they have the combination of the two, they're going to rule. And they know that, and they see this fear. That's why they try to destabilize these countries, but it doesn't work anymore. It's backfiring. So now, as the scriptures say, they're going to have to drink this cup of bitterness and trembling. Because you need to read the book of Obadiah. You need to read the book of Obadiah, and you'll get understanding who Jacob and Joseph is, and who Esau is, and his house shall be burned to stubble. All right, I'll listen, Doc.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you. Listen, there are tons of things that I want to touch on today. And one being, we share big, audacious opinions over here at WBOK. I know I do. And I take pride in standing on my big opinions. And you've heard me say over and over that I believe that there is a concerted effort to commandeer the city of New Orleans by the state government. I believe that. I believe it because I'm watching the legislation. I'm watching these executive orders. I'm listening to the tone of things that are being said. I'm hearing the direct shots at our local leaders. I hear it all. I read about it. You get the undertone of what the words they say. You hear the words, but then underneath that, You see what they're trying not to say out loud. I listen for that. And so I share my big opinions on this platform as other radio hosts do on their platforms. But it's always folk that want to come for WBOK because we are a place that amplifies the Black experience. And I know that's hard for some people to see Black people be centered in spaces. I know that's so hard for Black folk to have a microphone to be able to share their experience and amplify their voices. I know that's hard for you. In a world full of whiteness, I know it's hard to see a speck of Black. I get it. But let me tell you something. There's a page called Fix NOLA. And it's on Twitter, and it's also on Instagram, I believe, and it's FIXNOLA, Fix NOLA. And they seem to have had an issue with my perspective on there is a concerted effort for the state to take over the city of New Orleans. And so, I've always kind of reached out verbally to our leaders to say, it's up to us to defend this city. It's up to us, even if we don't get along, it's up to us to show a united front against a takeover. And then we could go back to our respective corners and fight for the accountability within New Orleans. But we cannot be openly going at each other and exposing ourselves to a threat of attack, because that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing. And so I said that on air a multitude of times, but whoever runs this page took issue with it, and they made a post about us, and it says, defend New Orleans status quo with a question mark. Hysteria over an imagined state takeover of the city seems to be a theme on WBOK. That's what the person wrote. And so I don't know about the word hysteria. Every single time somebody hits you and you tell them that they hit you and it hurts and you're uncomfortable with them hitting you, and if you touch me again, what I'm going to do, every time that happens, it's always the person that's responding to a threat that always is made out to be the aggressor, and it is us, and we're so aggressive over here. But this is what I said to the page. I say, hey there. Someone sent your Twitter post to me regarding a segment I did on WBOK. Just as I have big opinions regarding the issues, I'm sure you do as well. With that, you or whomever represents or runs this page or the Twitter page are welcome to share your perspective on our airwaves. You can come on as a guest, or you can simply call in. I welcome all perspectives, even those that differ from mine. Lastly, we'll discuss your post live on air, so I hope you have time to not only listen, but hopefully you can call in to share your views. The person responded and said, hi, Dr. Wyatt. I appreciate your message. I suppose I do have big opinions too, LOL. Thank you for the invite. I'll consider calling in and we'll try to tune in. You can probably tell I'm deeply frustrated by the constant major failures of New Orleans local government officials. I just want the chaos to end and for the basics to reliably function here. After watching for years, seems more state involvement is the only way that will happen. That is what the person responded to me and said. But let me explain something. So I really have an issue with people trying to frame a narrative around our perspectives here at WBOK. I don't see that happening for no other platform. And all of these other platforms have major opinions, big opinions, and more often than not, they're talking about WBOK. So here is my thing. I want folk to understand that your perspective is yours. My perspective is mine. I respect yours, and I just need you to respect mine. We can always find common ground if we have an opportunity to have discourse. But I don't live on Twitter, so I can't tell you what all is being said on Twitter. But somebody sent it to me, and I reached out because what I want folk to understand, stations like this have had to fight and claw their way to find a seat at the table. Nobody just voluntarily opened up a door and said, we want to hear what your perspective is. We care about your experience. We want to amplify your voice. That's not how this happened. So because we had to fight and claw our way to have a seat at the table, I'm not going to just let anybody willy-nilly come for it. We're not going to do that. Because what I will say is everything I said is based on what is actually happening literally in real time. I'm talking about a state government that is supporting the dismantling of public schools while putting $39 million into juvenile facilities, while putting millions and millions of dollars into LA Gator Fund to take the resources from public school and give it to private entities. That is what's happening. I'm listening to the state government continue to malign our local government here, take shots at our mayor, take shots at our sheriff, take shots at our DA. I'm listening to that. So I don't know if the people at Fix NOLA hearing what I'm hearing or seeing what I'm seeing, but there's no hysteria around that, my girl, because it sounds like a woman wrote that message. So if, or whoever you are, because see, when Dr. White have big opinions, Dr. White attach her big opinions to her actual platform. You can actually see me when I'm on WBOK. You can actually hear me, and I'm Ashanta Wyatt across all social media platforms. I don't duck and hide. When I have a big opinion, I stand on it. So what I'm asking you to do is don't try to frame my concern for my city as hysteria. Don't do that, because I'm listening with these ears. I'm watching with these eyes, and I got a big old head so I could think. So when you dare come for my perspective, please do so with your whole chest. There's a seat at our table for you. Our number here is 504-582-9422. So listen, forgive me if I am fiercely in love with the city of New Orleans. I am fiercely in love with black people. But my love for black people should not make you feel any less than. Why? And here's the thing. I am not upset. People think when I talk and my voice rises that I'm upset. Nope, I'm not. I'm just extremely passionate. But I know how to put my passion down when I need to. But when you talk about this city and when you talk about its children, I'm going to meet you wherever you at. Whether it be up there at the heavens or down there talking to Satan. Because if you go low, I'm going to sit next to him. And we going to have devil eggs together. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? So I just want you to understand that I don't have no qualms about anybody's opinion. But when you take a direct shot at me and you put my face on your platform and talk about hysteria, I'm going to meet you where you're at. But see, I don't know you. You know me. So let's level the playing field, my girl, and tell me who you are. Fix NOLA. Because together we can't fix New Orleans because that's her name. We can do that. The only NOLA I know is my puppy. She's 12 years old, Shih Tzu. That's her name, NOLA. But these streets right here belong to the city of New Orleans. T-Bone, what you say? Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Good morning. How you doing, Doc?
Good morning.
I appreciate what you just said because, yes, on the other side, you hear them saying, it's hysteria, it's this, it's that. You know what it is? We are not hysteric. We are not anxious. I can't use any other word to keep it clean to make you understand, so I'm going to say this one. We're pissed.
To the highest
this
level.
This is our home. This is where we were born and raised.
Yes.
This is where we're trying to raise our children. We are pissed with politicians who are pointing a finger at each other instead of doing their damn jobs. We are pissed with this current administration that is in Baton Rouge that is trying to railroad everybody here. Because what he really wants is for New Orleans to just be a cash cow. But like I tell people all the time, when tourists come here, they don't come to see Baton Rouge.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
New Orleans.
Yep.
Ain't nobody come see you, Otis. The only time they come to see you is when they want to go see LSU play in football season. They don't even go out there as much for basketball without Shaq there. You understand?
Yeah.
We are the main, and one child said this, and it really resonated with me. They said, well, why is the governor sit in Baton Rouge? Why he don't sit in New Orleans? New Orleans is the main city in Louisiana. We are.
Mm-hmm.
We are. Now, I want to also comment on, look, I have tremendous respect for Troy Carter. I've followed him since the beginning of his political career down here. And I say this with as much respect as I can on your name, sir. The next time you call the station next week or whatever, I need to hear who is the true leader of the DNC. What is your new platform? See, that's part of the problem right now because you guys don't really have true leadership. I like Hakeem Jeffries. As an educated black man that understands what it means to be a leader, I like him. Unfortunately, now he seems more like a figurehead and not a leader. Y'all need a real leader.
So T-Bone, I want to stay right there. I have to go to break, but when I pick back up, I'm going to talk about the comment that you just said. So we're going to keep talking, and I hope you keep listening. I appreciate your call.
All right.
Thank you so much. Listen, we got to go to break. I see you, Cedric. Hold on for me. I'll catch you on the other side. But T-Bone, I promise you, I'm going to pick up with that comment. When we come back, this is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Hey, this is Steve Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Fresh produce, local flavor, and a healthy you. New Orleans East Hospital is hosting a farmers market the last Wednesday of every month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us in the parking lot across from the main entrance. Support local farmers and your wellness. We'll see you there.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nyron Sanders. If you're just joining the show, you're missing a good one here. We're going to go straight to the phone lines. Cedric, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. Wyatt. Good morning to the listening audience. And if Congressman Troy Carter is still listening or someone in his staff, I want to piggyback off of a little bit off of, I believe it was T-Bone?
T-Bone, yes.
Sir, please, you are the sitting congressman. I know you got a lot that you are doing. Can you at least put a point person with this state Democratic Party and with the Democratic Party of Orleans Parish? And could they make sure that there's some point person from some congressperson's office with every Democratic committee? We are still behind the 8 ball, and this ain't the time to continue to be behind the 8 ball. We are pissed, sick, and tired, and the vote, and I'm talking about the voters. These politicians, you can harp on certain things, but I ain't hear none of the city councilmen, not even a councilman of the district where that truck gonna be there for a month, a garbage truck. And you're talking about structural damage, but yet you still got people going under that South Carrollton overpass. Citizens of New Orleans, WBOK family, come on, y'all. We got to get rid of some of these people. Thank you, Dr. White.
Thank you, Cedric. Listen, T-Bone, as I promised, you made the statement. You said, who is the real leader of the DNC? You want our congressman to address that, and you said we need a real leader. Well, to Miss Alicia's point, she called in a bit earlier, and she was imploring our congressman to find a place for Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. There is, to me, from what I can see, my perspective, there is this this layer of what a leader, how a leader should present, what they should look like, what kind of decorum, because you know that's that word that they like to throw around to keep black folk inside that nice little tidy box that they like to put us in. You can't dare have a big personality, big opinions, be audacious, stand on it, and be bold, especially as a woman, or you instantly get labeled. But I think right now when people are doing what they're doing, you need a real fighter, somebody that doesn't have a problem going toe-to-toe with the mediocrity that is white supremacy. You need somebody who does not care about what it looks like long as the job gets done. I don't care about you talking about me the next day as long as I got what I needed to get done for my people. We need those kind of leaders. And I've heard these conversations around certain leaders in our Democratic Party at the federal level who are being silenced or asking them to quiet themselves down or make themselves smaller. That's our problem. That's our problem. Because, see, the other side going to send their best hitter. Even if he's not even smart enough to hit the target, he just got to say the things that need to be said, no matter how outrageous they are. Do the thing that needs to be done, no matter how inhumane it is. That's the way they playing the game. But see, we over here focused on decorum. And if the person is speaking in a manner in which it could be acceptable for others. So while we over here playing respectability politics, we getting trampled on. So all I need is a leader that's willing to stand up and fight, no matter what it looks like. You might have to get your suit dirty. You might have to do that. But it's time for somebody to do something because this train is derailed. And it's going to crash. And the only people going to pay the ultimate prices are the people who had no part in making the decisions except for when they went to the voting booth. So listen, you saying we need a real leader? They're leaders in the Democratic Party. The Democrats have to let them lead. And I want to say this, too. I heard about the Orleans Parish Democratic Executive Committee. I do believe that Ms. Leslie Bowie is a point person for all of those sorts of questions. And I'm hearing there are some things that the Orleans Parish Democratic Executive Committee is doing. I could talk to Ms. Alicia Plummer to figure that out. I could talk to Joe Bowie to figure that out. I could talk to Ms. Leslie to figure that out and get the answers to the questions that you guys have. But what I do want us to understand is it's going to take a collective effort by all of us. Even the people we don't care to be in the same room with, it's going to take a collective effort by all of us to fend off this attack. And then we can go back to our respective corners and fight for the accountability within ourselves that our city deserves. But we have to be a collective first. We are in dangerous times and we are in dangerous territory, and it calls for a collective. That is my point on that. But look, we got Perry in the building with us. Hey, Perry, how you doing? Well, look, welcome back to the Good Morning Show. And if y'all are not familiar with Mr. Perry Shows, he is in charge of Sealy, and he's here to talk about the internship talent. He's going to be joined by Mr. Ronald Davis from Thrive NOLA, Mr. AB from Alka Financial, and Ms. Jessica Borderline from Revolution Real Estate LLC. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Are you woke? You up? I know it's early. I know we asked y'all to come so early. I don't know whose voice was that I just heard. Is that Mr. AB?
Yes, it is.
How you doing? Miss Jessica, are you there? Mr. Ronald?
Yes, ma'am.
How y'all
Yes,
doing?
I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. Good
Doing
morning.
great.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the
Davis,
show. I know it's
Good
early,
morning.
y'all, and I appreciate y'all being here with us. But Mr. Perry, just tell us, we get new listeners each and every day. And
Sure,
though you're a
yeah.
regular here at WBOK, some folk
Thank you
don't
very
know.
much. Thank you very much for
Absolutely.
making me a
Some
regular.
folk are not familiar with Sealy. So just
Sure.
give us a brief rundown of your role and who is Sealy? What does it do?
Yeah, so I'm the founder and CEO, born and raised in New Orleans. The organization's founded here, and we help college students with their preparation and transition from college into their career. So we're totally focused on getting them all the support that they need to successfully get ready for that, after education, what the job opportunity looks like, and not just to get a job, but to be successful once they have one. And, part of that whole process is connecting them with business leaders who have real opportunities for them to go and work and test their skills, demonstrate their professionalism, and really get prepared for that thing that's going to happen after college. And so today we have 3 partners of ours that are employers. They're small business owners that are, bringing opportunity, to reality for students of ours. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Perry, for that. Mr. Davis, can you tell us a little bit about Thrive NOLA and how does that partnership fit in with the mission of Sealy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. First off, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for inviting me, Perry. Thrive NOLA Spa, we're a full-service spa located in the French Quarter. We provide full spa services, massage therapy, facial service, waxing service. And we're looking forward to partnering with Perry and the Sealy this summer as we provide internship opportunities for our youth in our community. And it's important for me as being a native of New Orleans, attending school, HBCU, Shaw University, having opportunities such as Sealy that granted me internship opportunities that allowed me to do what I do now. We all need an opportunity, so it's a privilege and an honor to be able to partner and to, give back to the youth, but also provide them, resources and opportunities to learn and grow, because we got to start somewhere, and we all need someone to help us learn and grow and mature after that college phase going into the career.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davis. And Mr. AB, talk to us a bit about your organization and how the partnership amplifies the mission of Sealy.
Yes, of course. So, like you said, my name is AB Ordu, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Alka Financial. And thanks again for inviting me as well, Mr. Perry. Alka Financial is an accounting firm, and we do a little bit of accounting, tax, and some financial consulting. But really, we're building out a financial education and financial literacy program, which Mr. Perry has been kind of one of the key pieces to. We don't have as much time as we'd like to focus on recruiting and bringing in top talent, but Mr. Perry's organization has allowed us to do that locally and, stem from the talent that's already here in New Orleans and already the bright, young individuals that are here in our accounting programs at UNO or Loyola, things like that. So we haven't had to step outside of the state or outside of the local region to find, suitable interns that come into our firm. So those interns come in the summer, and we have a training program that we put them through that takes about 8 to 12 weeks. And then there's kind of a break from August to December, and then during the tax season, they come back to the firm and they prepare taxes for real clients.
Real clients,
day, and they do things right in that moment for the firm. We're very grateful to Mr. Perry for that.
And thank you for what you're doing in partnership with Mr. Perry. So, Ms. Jessica, same question. Talk to us about what your organization does and how that partnership with Sealy helps to amplify the mission.
Absolutely. So, as a real estate agent and investor, I have my own LLC with real estate investing, and I also am a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway. And so, my whole mission with being in real estate was to help people with financial stability and growth. And Sealy, which is spelled CILI, has a very similar mission with helping young people really get stabilized post-graduation. And so what I've been proud to do is to participate for all 5 years that Sealy has been in existence, and have worked with so many fantastic young people in that critical stage as they are trying to gain some work experience while they're in college. They're driven, they're talented, and they just need that little bit of extra coaching and support as they enter into the career field. And so I've absolutely loved working with them and developing their skills as far as not just their hard skills as it relates to my industry or other industries similar to mine, but also their soft skills, giving them that confidence to feel like their voice matters in that workplace, but also in their community, giving them opportunity to practice that, to demonstrate their skills, and to feel confident in that.
Yeah, and if I could just say,
absolutely.
You know, what Jessica and I worked on this year, primarily Jessica, I should say, she's created, we had students who came to us that said, I want to be a real estate agent, right? So she's curating from scratch a program designed to take, this year, it's our pilot year, a couple of students. She's organized home inspectors, people who flip homes, development. So we've got a whole program that 2 students this year are going to go through all the summer and learn various aspects of the real estate industry, and then on path to get their license and become, you know, productive real estate agents, developer, all of that good stuff. So the intentionality, again, of what we're doing is getting leaders to connect with how do we develop the next level of talent and, you know, help guide them through, to Jessica's point about culture, you know, nurturing all that stuff, giving them the space to practice and learn. And so we're also working with another group to help development professionals, so nonprofit space, where we're creating a program to help develop students that want to go into that path. So, you know, accounting, finance, you know, real estate, all of those things. The connection with SPA, we have a student who's studying kinesiology. Mr. Davis also studied sports medicine, sports, and so now we're connecting a student with him that's in that same light. So we're trying to match students with leaders who've already walked that path, so that they're learning from and getting nurtured by, you know, a leader who's trying to give back and guide them and all that stuff.
So, Jessica, can you talk to us about how important it is for businesses like yours to invest in the next generation of professionals?
Absolutely, because we've gained our knowledge and our experience, and we can help build out a talent base that benefits our business, but also collectively the business community throughout the New Orleans area. So if we can give them that work experience, that opportunity, we are strengthening our force here, as one of the other business owners mentioned, not having to go outside the state to find the talent that you need, right? Finding somebody who is from here, committed to New Orleans, and bringing them into your team, and not just bringing them in just because they're here, but bringing them in because they're talented and they're here. So that's where I see where that kind of comes together for me, is that I know that as I'm devoting my time and my energy to these young people, we're also collectively benefiting our business and our local economy.
And thank you for what you do with our youth. So, Mr. AB, how do you see college-level talent contributing to your business's goals and operations?
So college-level talent coming into our organization, first they have, you know, the very freshest eyes when it comes to their accounting courses and things like that. They're looking at balance sheets for the first time, and so they're really good at knowing those technical definitions and things like that. They also have a lot more of a willingness to learn, and they come into our organization really as sponges. You know, sometimes when we get accountants that have been in the industry for a long time, they're very hard to be coached because they've done it, you know, for so many years at a different firm. But these college students, you know, they're coming in and they're doing it the way that we really want them to, you know, advance in our way that we do business.
And my next question is for Mr. Davis. What inspired your company to participate in the Sealy Fellowship Program?
Yeah, Doctor, that's a great question, and thank you for your support and community and things you are doing for us and just the city and your work.
Thank you.
But what inspired you're welcome. What inspired us is really more so my background being a native from New Orleans and leaving New Orleans to go to school, HBCU, and traveling down the similar path that a lot of our young career entrepreneurs go through. Just looking for an opportunity, just looking for a start, looking for someone to give them a chance to teach them, to educate them. And if somebody did it for me, someone else needs to do it for them. So I'm just lending the hand back down, and hopefully as they matriculate, they can lend the hand back down as well, and we can just keep this going. But that opportunity and those internships that I had as I was coming out of college and even before college really gave me a good foundation, for one, to know kind of what I want to do and where I want to go, two, to understand how to, interact professionally, and three, being able to network and connect. So it's very important for me as a business owner, being a Black business owner in an industry that is not really dominated by us, to be able to give younger entrepreneurs, younger career aspirators, an opportunity and a chance to grow, learn, and to network and to meet others.
And thank you for that. Listen, I want to thank all three of the businesses, because there are not many businesses that opens its doors to our youth and be able to bridge a divide between career immersion programs and actual workspaces. And so I think that's important. So the next question is for you, Perry. What do businesses like Thrive NOLA, Alka Financial, and Revolutionary Real Estate do for the kids that you have under your tutelage? Like, what is that, being in partnership with these organizations while they're still in school, newly leaving from school? What does that do for your organization?
It does a couple things. So one, our students, sometimes I go like, the cookie's not fully baked, right?
Yeah.
They're really helping us to put them in a real live situation and help that student to grow and develop. So we need a leader who is passionate about giving back and understands what their struggle was to grow and develop, and then they're willing to allow some space for mistakes, because we know we learn from our mistakes much, much more than we learn from the things that we're successful at. So we create an environment that when we have a student that's placed with an employer, we've got a relationship, and that employer knows that we're developing a student. So they're not just going like, oh, that person made this mistake, or they goofed up, or whatever. We can call that employer, and the employer calls us, and then we can say, oh, we see XYZ going on. Let's do a course correction. So it's a partnership around developing. It's an opportunity for them to, first of all, as Mr. Davis talked about, is to see someone that looks like them, that is now their boss or the leader of the organization, and they can say, I can get there. They can see they can get there. And then, like for me personally, with developing students, I can have the uncle or the auntie, the conversations where I need to have with the student who might be doing something that is not on the right path for them. You can have those stern conversations with the student to get them there. And it's creating a safe environment for the development, and knowing that where we're assigning a student, that it's an environment that is nurturing. It's about getting them to that next step, and just gives us an opportunity to develop them.
So how long have these partnerships been going on with Sealy, with these three organizations?
So Miss Jessica has been with Sealy since the very, very beginning. And so 5 years, we're in our fifth cohort. So every year she's either had marketing or graphic design students that have been working with her, and AB at Alka, and Mr. Davis at Thrive NOLA Spa. This is their first year coming on board with us, but we have several other partners who've been with us for multiple years, and we're constantly trying to grow, but we're particular about the match, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So we don't put a student with anyone,
Right.
and we need to make sure that that student is in their line. So we're not going to send Mr. Alka, AB marketing student
Right.
unless he needs marketing for his company.
Right.
You know,
Makes sense.
So
look, we have to go to break here. Word from our sponsors, but when we come back, we'll have more
Yep.
with Sealy, Mr. Perry, and his partners right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. I am in studio right now with Mr. Perry Show from the Sealy organization, talking about internship talent. On the line with us, we have Mr. Ronald Davis from Thrive NOLA Spa, Mr. AB from Alka Financial, and Miss Jessica, from Revolution Real Estate LLC. Welcome back, lady and gents. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. So we were talking about like how do you choose your partners, right? And Jessica's been here long enough, so I'll ask her
Sure.
this question. So Jessica, can you think of a success story based in your partnership with the Sealy organization?
Oh, absolutely, more than one. There's
like when he
one young man in
answers like
particular. I actually interned him for two years, and so in addition to doing real estate, Perry mentioned I also do marketing, and so I had him working on marketing projects for clients. And when he first began, he had some skills, but he clearly needed a space where he could practice and thrive and grow and learn some new things. And after year 2, he reached out to me and said, asking questions about like how does he structure for his own business in that space. And next thing you know, he's got a couple of clients of his own. He's learned how to do invoices. He's learned how to write up marketing proposals. And all of that he learned while he was working with me. And now he's flourishing and doing it on his own with his own clientele.
Yes, he has an LLC.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations, Jessica. Seems like you're doing. So, listen, I'm always leaning into the ladies. The ladies make it happen. Look, I appreciate the work that you're doing, but now I'm going to ask our first years. So, Mr. Ronald Davis with Thrive NOLA, because this is your first year, how excited are you to partner with Sealy, and what are you hoping to gain in your first year of the partnership?
I'm very excited. Definitely looking forward to just the opportunity to just give the opportunity, but also I'm looking to, really provide the exposure and provide the real game, as Mr. Perry alluded to, in the workforce. And we plan to have our intern come in and on board, and then to be full-fledged in a position, really managing and running and operating the spa. Of course, we'll be assisting her and supporting her, but we're going to give her a lot of freeway and leeway in regards to learning the different skill sets, how to manage, how to organize, customer service, you name it. We're going to give it to her and allow her to come in. I'm even going to allow her to come in on some of my admin meetings just so she could be able to get a background and some background experience on administrative marketing meetings, staff meetings, leadership meetings, planning meetings. So my goal is really just to expose and then find out what's her area that she feels that, she wants to improve on or she wants to strengthen in a professional experience. And I'm going to try to create a plan and try to, give her that experience and those real life career ball games so she could be able to learn from. So I'm looking forward to the highest point because, like I said, I have a background in, a lot of internship experience in regards to myself. And I know for sure that I wouldn't be to this point if I didn't have those internship experiences where I learned so much. So I'm just trying to provide the same type of experience and meet her where she at and coach her and, lead her and guide her. So I'm very appreciative for the support and partnership with Sealy, and I'm very excited.
Well, Mr. Davis, fun fact, when you originally opened Thrive NOLA, I was gifted a massage there. And when you walk in, you're greeted at the counter by a young lady, and they put this thing in your hand that shows like a list of drinks, and you can choose to have your beverage while you fill out the paperwork, while you wait on your appointment. So I just wanted to let you know I've been to your establishment, so I'm excited to see that you're partnering with the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute to help provide those same opportunities that someone provided for you to our youth. So thank you for what you do there. And Mr. AB, it would be the same question. Because this is your first year, how excited are you to partner with Sealy, and what are you hoping to gain from your first year in the partnership?
Yes, obviously we're very excited. First, I want to say I've met Mr. Perry many years ago at a New Orleans Black Chamber of Commerce golf tournament because neither one of us were golfing.
Black Chamber.
And so we've been in talks about this for many years, but the real thing that we want to do with this partnership is, obviously address the elephant in the room that there's been a lot of attacks on DEI and things like that. And the companies who weren't doing that for marketing and who were just doing that for just general day-to-day operations, we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to do it well. Being a minority-owned firm, there are very few accountants and financial professionals who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, and there are even more few who stay in the field. So we want to get to these students early while they're still in school and things like that, and nurture them into the actual career field itself, so that even if they don't stay with us, they still have a good base for accounting itself. When you first join the industry, you're worried, oh, how am I going to get clients? What if I make a mistake? I'm going to get fired. And we're taking all of those things that, when I was a young accountant, those were, real stressors for me. And, now we can put them in a position where they can gain real experience while they're still in school. And hopefully when they finish their college degree, they can sit for the CPA exam. And as soon as they start their career, they'll already have a few years, 3 to 5 years of experience to pair with their CPA, and that'll make them much more competitive candidates, even compared to, Ivy League or, highly trained accountants from other places.
Yep.
So they'll be able to compete with them on a national level.
Well, thank you. Listen, I know, Perry, that funding is always going to be at the forefront of most of our organizations, especially with what we're going through, as Mr. A.B. talked about with this attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion. If folk who are listening right now wanted to help in your organization's goals for our youth, how can they do that? Like, is there a platform where they can go visit and donate to you?
Yes.
If students are interested in being a part of CELI, where can they go to sign up? Just tell us all about those things.
Yeah, I mean, the portal is internshiptalent.org. So it's just www.internshiptalent.org. On our front page, we have a nice yellow button to donate. So we'll take any donations. We actually have a couple of students who we're trying to get placed who we don't have funding for this summer. So we've got, we're getting ready to do GoFundMe or whatever so we can get funding. For most of our students, they are first generation. They're coming from New Orleans. Somebody's helping them get to college. We're trying to help them get an internship opportunity. More importantly, we want that internship opportunity to be a paid internship opportunity for that student. The sooner they start to learn how to earn money in this new capacity, the better. So www.internshiptalent.org. If you're looking to volunteer, there's a button for being a coach or a mentor. If you're looking to donate, if you're an employer, you want to, host a student, let us know that. But this is a workforce development, right? So we're trying to make sure the students from New Orleans and around the state have a pathway. They've chosen to go to college. And how do we help them get prepared for coming out? Because there's a ton of students who go to college, they get a degree, and then they're lost.
Right.
And we're trying to make sure that we clean up and make it as easy as possible to help them with that process, and provide the development and all that stuff that they need. And it takes funds for us to do that, to make this happen for the students. And we appreciate any contributions, whether it's time or finances, for sure, for us.
Well, thank you, Perry. Listen, I want to also thank our guests who are on the line with us, Mr. Ronald Davis of Thrive NOLA Spa, Mr. A.B. Ardu from Alka Financial, and Ms. Jessica Bordelon from Revolution Real Estate, LLC. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Doctor. Thank you
been
again,
a pleasure.
Mr. Perry.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
both
Have
for
a
your
blessed
work.
one. Listen, Mr. Perry, I also want to thank you for being here. I just told you off air, every time you come, you have forged new partnerships in service to our children. So thank you for all you do at CELI, and I hope that folk go to www.internshiptalent.org and either donate with finances or sign up to volunteer to further help your mission to help place our children in college or careers. So thank you. We are so grateful. I want to also thank Congressman Troy Carter for joining us this morning, as he does each and every Thursday. And I want to give a special shout out to Allison Edmondson. She's a CPA, y'all, from Harmony Street Society. Thank you for all you do on behalf of the culture community here in New Orleans, and thank you personally from me. This is WBOK 1230 AM. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Y'all stay tuned up next for the Front Porch with Grady and Kimber. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Happy Thursday.
Have you heard the secret of what New Orleans is talking about? I promise everything will be okay if you're listening here on the airwaves. It's that WBO.